everyone, my name is Matt. I'm the youth and family pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield. Here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. So friends, we are in the Old Testament book of Ruth today. We started that a couple days ago. Yesterday was Ruth chapter 2, and we're looking at Ruth chapters 3 and 4 today. Now, before we get to the text, I just want to ask you a question. When people hear your name, all right, when they hear Jim Jones, or they hear Sue Smith, whatever your name is, or they hear Matt Korth, what comes to mind for them? What do they think of? What are you known for? Maybe is the best question to ask. Well, today as we get into Ruth chapter 3, we find out what Ruth is known for amongst the townspeople. And on top of that, what we're going to find out is the kind of person that Boaz is as well, if we don't already have a glimpse of that from Ruth chapter 2. So just to catch you up, in Ruth chapter 2, Ruth has met Boaz as she's been gleaning in his fields in order to provide food for herself and for her mother-in-law, Naomi. And she lets Naomi know this, and she lets her know that, hey, I've been in the fields of Boaz. And Naomi goes, he's our kinsman redeemer. He has some duties to fulfill in regards to our family because we have land that belongs to my deceased husband Elimelech. And so he can redeem that, and he also has a duty to redeem any widow that is within the family in order to preserve his name. So there's a lot going on here. And the wise old Naomi comes up with a plan in Ruth chapter 3. And as we work our way through Naomi's plan and Ruth begins to work that plan out, we see the kind of person that Ruth is. We see what she is known for amongst the townspeople, and we also see the kind of person that Boaz is. So let's check it out. Join me in Ruth chapter 3 as I read from verse 1, and I'm going to go through verse 13. Here we go. Here's what it says. One day Naomi, her mother-in-law, Ruth's mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, should I not try to find a home for you where you will be well provided for? Is not Boaz, with whose servant girls you have been, a kinsman of ours? Tonight he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. Wash and perfume yourself and put on your best clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do." Now it's important to pause here and just acknowledge something. What Naomi is not doing is asking Ruth to do something that is provocative or promiscuous. Actually, if you read some commentary on this, what Naomi is suggesting could be slightly risky for Ruth, but also in addition to that, she is coming. If she follows this plan, she's coming in a very humble way. She's coming in a very submissive way towards Boaz, and being very humble, being very kind towards him. Let's pick it up in verse 5. "I will do whatever you say," Ruth answered. So she went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law told her to do. When Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he went over to lie down at the far end of the grain pile. Ruth approached quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. In the middle of the night, something startled the man, and he turned and discovered a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" Remember, it's dark. They've met before, but it's dark. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am your servant Ruth," she said. "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a kinsman redeemer." Verse 10, "The Lord bless you, my daughter," he replied. "This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. Listen now, all my fellow townsmen know that you are a woman of noble character. Although it is true that I am near of kin, there is a kinsman redeemer nearer than I." Note the character of Boaz. "Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to redeem, good, let him redeem. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Lie here until morning." Now, spoiler alert, as we get into chapter 4, that nearer kinsman redeemer will pass on redeeming that property of Naomi's or Elimelech's, and also Ruth as his wife, and Boaz, as the story goes, redeems both the property and Ruth as his wife. And it's a really beautiful, sweet story in this Old Testament. But what I want us to zoom in on is the character of Ruth. She's known as a woman of noble character in her town. And also zoom in on the character of Boaz, who perhaps could have quietly just redeemed this property, perhaps could have quietly redeemed Ruth as his wife, but he knew there was one nearer to her and her family than him. And he was going to go through the proper channels and do things in a noble and high character way. Friends, may this all challenge us today. Man, I'd rather be known as someone that has high character than someone who's simply highly competent in things. Friends, may we invite God to examine our hearts, to examine our minds, to examine our lives at home, at work, out in the community, and allow Him to examine us and reveal to us our true character. And then allow Him by His Spirit and by His Word to work on that character. And may our character turn into conduct that blesses others and also gives God glory. Friends, may that encourage you today. May it also challenge you. And we'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.